Well, it says we're live, so welcome from the crossroads of America. Talk show about guns, politics, or anything else that crosses my mind. Answer questions from the audience either in the chat or by email to Rick's Life as I See It at gmail.com or spottedrick at gmail.com. I got a Patreon page, PayPal, and all that other stuff in the info section below. So we got that out of the way. It's a slow start. We got G23 was first, then Gun Loving Grandpa. So we got in the room right now. That's it, 2 people. Man. And what can I say? I know it's more likely there's a lag with YouTube getting it going. But I see G23 has put the link in the chat to rnldisplays.com. You know, with all the discount codes you can use to get you 15% off. So there we go. And right now, the my panelist right now is New York Outcast. How you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for putting the code out there. Or the link. There is a sale running now, so figured run it from Thanksgiving through Cyber Monday. So if anybody's interested.
All right. So there you go. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to have to jump off a gun tube and go on to the duck because the system disconnected me 3 times before we even went live. You know, so I'm not sure how it's working today. You know, I'm just sitting here doing stuff and it goes, the stream is disconnected or something. You know, that woman's voice or whatever. It's done it 3 times to me so far. So hopefully it won't, because I'm hoping it was only because maybe it saw no activity or something. You know, but I don't know. But anyway, I'm just letting you know if we disappear, I'm only have to show back up on the duck. Just putting it out there just in case. All right. Now I just said I'm waiting for people to show up. But then again, see, it's Thanksgiving, so I'm not sure how many people are gonna show up. You know, people out doing stuff. I mean, people seem to stretch Thanksgiving into an all, you know, for like an all week affair now instead of just, you know, one day.
Some people got travel to think of too or consider. So
yeah.
Personally, I've seen like articles, things like that, where they're stating, you know, lots of people are traveling, this and that, but I haven't seen it personally through the people I know. Most people aren't taking any long trips, but my little small sample probably doesn't speak for everybody. Well, I'm sure it doesn't. So, notice gas prices hiked up here pretty much overnight Thanksgiving. So that was something. It was
Well, yeah, what are you paying now?
What, 360 something.
Right.
So
yeah.
All right. Actually, I think, about 360, 370, 360 and change at 370. So it jumped up like 15, 20 cents overnight pretty much. So curious how long that's going to take to jump back down.
That's all because of the new variant.
I don't know. I think it's because of the, with the timing, it was for holiday travels. It seemed to be like the day before Thanksgiving or that day. It pretty much jumped.
They wouldn't do that.
That
would be a conspiracy, and they don't have
it. Yeah, maybe not. It's just a heck of a coincidence, I guess.
Yeah. To me, there's no coincidence.
Apparently, I got robbed for my turkey too. So can't remember the exact. It was like $47 for a 20-pound turkey.
Jesus,
and it was like store brand too. So It was
Yeah,
good. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it was that valued good. Not compared to other people. So
yeah,
this was close at $2 a pound for a store brand. Uh, or actually, it was more. I think over $2 a pound. So I can't remember. I had it all, but you know,
yeah. But
I hate finding out I got ripped. So
yeah, don't. It just upset you. Gun loving grandpa said his gas went down 3 cents. Ours has stayed steady. It's when did I get gas? Actually, I got gas on actual Thanksgiving because I had to go. I went down to my cousin's, and it was a 60-mile ride each way. You know, and that truck of mine drinks the shit. So yeah, it was. I paid 334. That was Thursday. I don't know what it is today. I haven't been out anywhere today. Uh,
I haven't checked today either. So just want to say, it's a good thing you didn't blow all your damn money, huh? Needing that extra gas.
yeah, I know I had to go. I kept some money back because I knew I knew I was going to have to put gas in the truck to make that trip, and that's why I didn't want to go really. But it's a hell of a trip. But mind you, I mean, I was showing my. I was when I went down there. I'm not a car guy, right? I'm really not. But I got I forgot to mention this, or I was floating to anybody, but I took some pictures of it. Well, I didn't take pictures of it. I looked it up. The actual car, I looked it up on the internet. Sitting in the garage is in my cousin's garage. Her I don't know if you call him fiance, boyfriend, man, friend, whatever you want to call him. He is fairly well off. And anyway, I walk through the garage, and sitting right there in the garage is a 1969 Dodge Dart, right? Original, original paint, original engine, original interior in almost excellent condition. And all it's got is 45,000 miles on it. And he got it for what's that big auction, Merchant, whatever it's called, Meckham. I can't think of the name, but they normally show it on TV.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Well,
I
they
can't.
had one up.
McGuire. Oh, it's not McGuire's, is it?
No,
Or McGregor.
it's Meckham or something. MER.
I know
Something.
what you're speaking of. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they had one in Indianapolis, and he went up there and he bought this thing. Uh, 40 grand. You know what I'm saying, for a car. And to me, that they said he got a bargain. You know, but of course, I mean, to get it from Indianapolis to his house, plus you got to pay buyer's fee or seller's fee or whatever, plus tax here in Indiana. He was telling me, I mean, it cost him just shy of 50 grand. You know, time he forked everything out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. G23. That's the auction he bought it at. But I mean, it's a beautiful car. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not a car guy, so I wasn't drooling over it like everybody else was. You know?
Yeah. I wouldn't drool over that model. That car. But there's a couple I might. But it's a bit of money. But depending on what the guy has, extra expenses. I mean, it is seen as an investment. Just hopefully he did a good job. Hopefully having somebody else really inspect it. Because a lot of time those cars are put together and usually done well at an auction like that. But it is an auction, so you gotta Yeah, buyer beware. So
Yeah, but
uh,
no, see, but this isn't his first car. He knows what
yeah,
he's doing. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And
Oh,
plus
just
plus
putting it out there in general. So
it's got all
buyer beware at auctions.
it's got all the paperwork with it as well. You know, so it's been validated that it is what it says it is. You know, that's why he paid the price because you know. I mean, it was actually came out of Ohio. The guy who bought it drove it for 4 years, then he died. And his wife kept the car in the garage for 40 was it 40 odd years or something like that? 40, 50 years, just sitting in the garage, covered up, you know? And and the family, the family decided it's time to get rid of it. So, yeah, well, that looks like yeah, that's the one he got there. It's in a green color too. It's a nice car. It really is. You know. So, but what I'm saying is I'm not a car guy, so I I wasn't drooling over. Anyway, I showed my friend Terry, the guy I go shooting with, over his place on Friday down at the diner. I had it on the phone. That showed it to him. Now he's a car guy. I mean, he's into racing and all kinds of shit. And he was drooling. I said, if you had come with me, you would have taken your chair outside and sat in the garage looking at it, wouldn't you? He goes, damn right I would have. He said, you can invite me next time. uh, but anyway, that's about the highlight of my weekend, really. But anyway, let's get going. I don't know when he's coming in yet. Oh, MK's here. MK Joe's here. So another person has dropped in. There might be a few more in there who don't like me. I go into a lot of chats, but I don't say anything. I just sit there and listen. You know, and there could be people doing that here too, because I noticed when I do these shows, and it looks like I've only got maybe 20 people in the room or whatever, or it shows just 20 people. And but when I look at it a few hours later, it shows maybe I had 50 or 60 people. So I don't know how many are sitting in the room not saying anything. So anyway, my title of my thing, it just caught me as strange, a coincidence that this new variant of this this COVID-19, this new variant, it seems to come out at a very convenient time, worse than any one we've seen so far, and it's going to spread through the whole world again. And to me, I think it's just a setup by the Democrats to push mail-in voting again, where they know exactly how many votes they're going to need to win to keep the control of the government. Because if you read stuff, listen to stuff, and even some of the left-wing channels are saying that the Democrats are going to lose. You know that, and if they don't, and the way I don't want. They've done it once already that we know of. And they could do it again, and it would be the. How can I put it? I mean, if they do it again, then I mean, all is lost. You know what I'm saying? But all them people had died for, is gone. I'm not talking. I mean, I'm talking from 1776 all the way up to the people dying in Afghanistan. All the service people who have died, and all the wars and all the BS that's happened. It's all gone for nothing. The country is over as we know it. Now, I've said this before. All, for lack of a better word, all sort of, I wouldn't call the United States an empire, but what I'm trying to say is things like this, they all go to the wayside eventually. You know? So I mean, the Roman Empire collapsed, the Ottoman Empire collapsed, you know, all that. I mean, what I'm saying is the British Empire collapsed, basically. I mean, England used to practically rule the world. And, you know, and they slowly lost it all. So, the 200, what was it? America's what, 248 years old now? It might have reached its time. That's it, you know. That's what I was trying to say. The country might have reached its time. I don't think so, because as I've said this many times before, I mean, being a military brat like I was and working for the government, I mainly all, you know, in England, Germany, and all that kind of stuff, being in different countries, the people lining up at embassies and consulates to get visas to get here because they want what we have. You know, it's if we're that bad, why are people lining up to get here? You know, hell, come down the southern border now. You don't even need to line up at the embassy. Just walk right across, no problem, and they'll give you money for coming too. But I did read. I did read. Did I read it? Yes, that it's not publicized, but the Biden Harris administration is implementing the stay in Mexico policy that Trump started, trying to curb what's happening down at the border. You know, well, they should have thought of that before they opened it up. Everything they did with immigration, they did it it was just purely out of spite, of just to say Trump set it all up. We're destroying everything Trump done. It was just done out of spite because we're in charge now. There was no thought put into it that he actually done something right, that Trump actually done something right down at the border, you know. But that's what's this world. I mean, I don't know. I've been watching more news than I normally do lately. For the
I can tell.
Last few weeks, I haven't hardly watched any because it just gets me so worked up, you know. But you got to watch it. Otherwise, before you know it, you'll be sitting there in your world, you know, they'll be come knocking on your door and you don't even know what in the hell's happening.
Well, it's a matter of opinion. I mean, yeah, I think a lot of that news is propaganda, stuff to get you going, stuff to get everybody going. And, you know, people talk about things like that and speculate and give their opinions. But it's taught to us pretty much in elementary school about propaganda, but people refuse to believe it. And that's the same with, you know, everybody thinking we'll go on forever. Historically, that's just not the case. And just about every society thought they were the most advanced, they were the best, blah blah blah. Same thing we think, but yet look what's happened. So, you know, whether it's I don't know, the ice age comes back, whatever. Things always change through society. So, as well as, countries. I don't think we're necessarily at that point, but I think we're at a tipping point for sure. Maybe downhill, but American values, I think, could save the day, but I don't think they'll be put in place to do so, unfortunately. Without things always get a lot worse before they get better, in my opinion. And then let's see, what else did you talked about a lot of stuff there. Obviously the news, I think you should lay off that. The whole immigration thing. I don't really know. I have my own opinions on it, and I would be a lot firmer than I think other people are. So I think the process is way too slow for legal people to get through. A lot of problems. It's backed up. It seems like the illegals are getting a free pass, and the people that we really want that are trying to do it right are getting screwed over. So I think that whole thing's an issue, personally. And people want to come here because even though our ship might be taking on water, going down, we're still handing out free shit to people. So poor here is pretty good compared to other places. As a matter of fact, I think, what was it? I don't want to say numbers, but the majority of the world, their high end is our low end. So there's a better way of putting it, but I can't recall all the numbers. So really, being poor here might be a blessing in some cases. And you have the ability to spit in our face and demand more. So why wouldn't you? But, the election. And you're talking about that with the thing. So my opinion's already out there. I think we're already past that point. It's screwed, kind of. So it's just, when are the people going to realize it and do something differently? So I wouldn't expect much else at this point.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to have faith in the election system that we have. So that's what I'm.
Well, faith is good, I guess. Faith has its advantages.
If we don't have it,
the writing's been on the wall for a while.
Yeah, I mean, that's back to the original thing, the fall of the civilization of the United States as we know it. If we can't,
look at the issues with the schools. I mean, because in my opinion, trying to look at the big picture, I think schools are the key. The government pretty much controls the schools. So people coming off, these generations beneath us, they've all been thinking one way. So society frames everything in that way. TV puts it that way, and we're all maniacs. And then the next generation, it's a little different. So we'd have to, I don't think we can just vote ourselves into happiness. I'll put it that way.
There's more people today willing to embrace socialism than there's ever been in this country. Americans have got lazy. They want the government to take care of them. They want the free handouts. They don't want to work for it because, I hate to say it, we've got lazy. We've got nothing to fight for because it's all been handed to us. They don't realize. It's got to the point where people don't realize how good they've got it. You hit on it. I mean, I sit here and piss and moan a lot. Me being on my fixed income, poor me. But compared to other countries, I got a, it's old, but I got a vehicle that runs. I've got firearms behind me. I got.
You got to show where you bitch about the government.
What?
I said you got to show where you bitch about the government.
Yeah.
You'd be dead already in a lot of other places.
Yeah. I'll be like the missing Chinese tennis player. But yeah, you're right. So I mean, And problem is we don't. But I still remember what it was like growing up as a kid. Freedom. I mean, it's not a cliche. Freedom isn't free. You
Yeah,
know,
but a lot of people haven't had to
if you
fight
want to
for
be
it.
free, there is risk that goes along with that freedom, right? And people think they can be free without the risk, and it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It really doesn't. It's I mean, I've also noticed there was a couple of shootings too over the weekend. 3 shot here, 2 injured, one died here, 4 shot and stuff. And but if you do research, read the stories from all different writers and stuff, you get down to the small print further down, go down a couple of paragraphs. 90% of them are gang related. You know, so but they don't say that at the top. Gangs shooting at each other again. You know, they make it sound like everyday people like me and you are shooting each other, which isn't the case.
That was the plan. Back to MTV and the culture, and you ain't nothing if you don't have any street respect.
Yeah, yeah,
So that was people being set up to fail, in my opinion. You can do what's cool and ruin your life and maybe regret it later, and then follow that same path after you go to jail, where it's society's fault. Or you can not be a dumbass and fall in other people's traps. But that's every individual, and then the cultures suck kids up because kids want to fit in, and that's what's on TV. So
yeah.
that's kind of the problem. It's the influence. It's the schools. Your kid may be great, but if all their friends are shit, what are their opportunities in the future? They're gonna get a hookup at the dollar store. I mean, is that ideal?
Yeah, yeah. You're right. I mean, everything's changes the same sort of thing, but I happen to do what was it? I recorded it. Why did I record it? And I can't remember why. Because I. Why did I record it? There was a reason, but the other day, for some unknown reason, I recorded that that show with what's her name in it, The Equalizer. Can't think of that actress's name now, that black woman, right? And I'm watching that. I'm sitting there watching it, and there's a sniper, right? And he's shooting people in New York City. They found out they know where he was at, and one of them said, "Police will be here. They're what's going to be here in 20 minutes." Right? Then this other one said, 20 minutes is too long. It took the sniper in Las Vegas 2 minutes to kill 60 people. So when did that
It's
shooter in
programming.
Vegas
That's
become a
TV, man.
sniper? You know, when did that guy? I can't even remember his name now. The guy who shot on people in Vegas. Since when did he become a sniper? They say this kind of shit, and it really pisses the hell out of. Yeah, that's the person, G23. But it just, I mean, that's your TV. That's what they teach them at school, and all this, all that leftist bullshit. It's done at the school level. I'm sorry, it is, and it's our fault for not paying attention. I mean, I know you homeschool because you figured it out, and why there's trouble all over the states right now with school boards and shit, because with people being locked up and seeing what their kids are doing on the computer, saying, "What the hell are you teaching my kids?" Right? They realize what's happening, but is it too late? Can it be turned around? I don't know.
think there's a chance. It's just pretty slim. And usually it takes something horrible for anything major, for the masses to react in a sense. So I would just point out, it's not just, how the school goes about. I don't know. It's a bigger picture with the school in a sense. At least it was for me. I'd recommend everybody to maybe do a little search on, success rates between private homeschool and public school. And then, maybe ask your boss where their kids go to school or grandkids, because most of the people I know that are doing well, they don't send their kids to public school. Like, they'd laugh at you about that. And there's usually a reason for that. I mean, if you look at the success rates, it's better. It is. And then everybody instantly says, oh, they're segregated. They're going to be hermits or something. Maybe in the past, that's how things, there's so many different options now, the different groups, this and that. Being homeschool kids, I had more kids at my house than other people had. Plenty of friends. It's not like the cultist type of stuff people make it out to be. It can be, if like anything, keep an eye out, but there's always weirdos out there. But all in all, statistically, they do better. They excel more, and you usually have a tighter bond with your children.
But unfortunately, there's some families that can't do it because they don't have
they
great
say
jobs.
they can't. Yeah.
They need both incomes. So you can't stay home with the kids.
Well, to keep status quo, they'd probably be correct. But honestly, what's more important in life? A shiny car or your legacy to live on, you to do your job, to prepare your children to the best of your ability. And I think a lot of people would just rather take the easy route, go to school. So everybody does. Go to school, I don't have to worry about it. Some people sleep in and get drunk all day. Some people work. Some people are just busy in their own world on their phone all day. I don't know. But there's a lot of things you can do. Just people don't really want to make that sacrifice, because somewhere along the line, everybody came to the conclusion that you're just supposed to give your kid everything, up into the line of past abuse to where they're obese or where they're just, a controller grew to their hands. It's just gotten ridiculous. So part of parenting is saying no in moderation to things, but that's a whole nother story. But basically, what I'm pointing out, if you know better, do better. Even if it's hard for you to do it, because you don't get time back. And I'll debate that the influence of your kids, where other people will say, if you're doing a good job at home, it won't affect them. That's bullshit. You have no idea the pressure kids are under, nor the time amount that you're allotting them. They probably spend more time with those people than they honestly do with you, when you really do the math and count sleeping and everything else. So when you think about it, shit rubs off on people. It's just what it is. Some for good, some for bad.
Oh yeah, I mean, even if most people who work spend more time working than they do with their families. It's just a given. People work 8-10 hours a day, 5-6 days a week. You're only spending a few hours with your family because you've got to get to bed, get sleep, to get up in the morning to do the same job over again. So yeah.
Well, like, we took it wasn't easy for us to do it when we decided to do it. So we lost money, but we figured out a way to kind of counter that. So, and the way I see it, life goes in phases, especially raising children and things like that. So that was just one phase. Don't let it be a rut. So, I don't know. Move on from there. You know what I mean? But basically, we altered things to make that work to where we were sustainable, back to, in some cases, profitable again. So it's just, there's always a way. It just may not be comfortable or the way you wanted to do it, but there's always a way.
Yeah.
And that's the
Hey,
job
T
of a
Gun
parent,
Kitty.
in my
Good to
opinion.
see you. Yeah. Oh yeah. So
It's not about you or comforts or you'll feel bad because you couldn't get them the newest iPhone or something ridiculous. Like some of this stuff is just off the freaking walls. Like, yeah.
oh yeah. I mean
I don't want to go on and on I can go on this for hours, but everybody will leave.
oh yeah, I mean it is. I mean they want $1,000 cell phone. You know, $200. I mean that's cheap pair of shoes to go to school in. You know what I'm saying? It's absolutely crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. When I was growing up, yes, I mean my father was in the military. Right? We moved quite a lot. So I mean, I went to a bunch of different schools, i.e., they were a big majority of them were military schools on bases. You know, they were DODs, Department of Defense schools system, or I think that's what it was called. But you know, but it was a different school, a whole bunch of different kids. You know, and for some unknown reason, 90% of the time, when my father got rotated to a different base, we didn't do it during the summer. You know, when summer vacation happened, we done it out of sync to everybody else. So we would move once school started again. So you're the new kid going into a school. You know what I'm saying? It was tough. It was tough. But I
Oh,
just,
I
you know,
always thought the new kid was kind of a good thing. I mean, he got the nerves, but it's never as bad as you think it is the night before. Usually, you always go through all the works. It's like a new job or something. So it's usually never as bad as you may be thinking.
no,
So,
I mean, no, but
but being
it's
a new kid is curiosity,
you
and
got to
that
make
brings
new
all the girls
friends.
around.
You know what I'm saying? You got to start over again, finding friends and that kind of thing. Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the
been there.
worst thing of it. You know, but it's but where I was going with this is there was I didn't get everything I wanted growing up. You know what I'm saying? My father would say no, can't. You know, he couldn't afford to do it. I mean, really, back in the I'm going late '60s, early '70s. I wanted I can't even remember what they're called now. It was a bike, right? They used to have it was purple and it had gear lever in the middle, and it was the bee's knees. If you had one of those, you were the cool kid in the block. You know what I'm saying? I wanted one of those so bad I could taste it, but I never got one. I just got a regular Huffy. Is that what they used to be
Yeah,
called? You know, with I called them, but they had the long, skinny banana seat type thing on them,
yeah,
you know, with the big
yeah. I've
handlebars. You
seen
know,
those.
so
That's funny. Yeah, no, it wasn't like that. I assume your father wasn't concerned with you freaking out, needing therapy, committing suicide, all that
no,
type of stuff.
no, no. He figured I'll get over it.
Just
I
toughened
did.
up a little bit, huh?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So you didn't complain and write, I guess, snail mail to everybody you know and try to shame them.
No, no, didn't do that.
Damn,
You know,
what have we come to?
I know. You know, I didn't write to the people to say my parents were cruel to me. You know, you need to take me away from them, put me in with a rich family. You know.
Well, I had it. I did it kind of how it was done for me. It's like needs were given, wants, maybe, but usually you're working for those in some form. So Yeah, you don't just get what you want all the time. You know what I mean? You need a pair of sneakers. You don't need a pair of $120 sneakers. You know, there's a difference there. So
No, yeah,
I'll
yeah, I know.
I'll
I mean,
throw in this much, and if you want something special, you better have the rest of the money.
oh yeah, I
So
mean, back in my day, I
I
wanted
got them
the.
working.
Back in my day, it was the white ankle sneaker. You know, it was more like wearing a boot, but they were white. You know, but what everybody else had was the black ones. You know, I got the black ones. I didn't get the white ones to be cool. You know, I wanted to be a cool kid, and I never was. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't afford to be cool. Love you too.
Yeah.
How you doing, barbecue?
Hey,
Not too bad. How about you guys?
You know, we're doing all right.
It's grumpier old men conversation today, apparently.
Oh yeah,
Sounds
yeah.
like it.
Like I had it. I mean, I was just saying. I thought I had it hard. You know, I mean, if kids today had what I thought was hard, they would be in therapy.
Wait a minute. You had to duck when you seen your friends well dodging the Flintstone holes in the bottom of the car.
You know,
I don't think you had it as bad as me, buddy.
Yeah. You know, it's but as I was saying at the beginning, the problem is education. That is where all the problem is. And we talked about this before.
Yeah, the youth.
We've got to change the education system here. We got to teach kids the right stuff, and we're not teaching them the right stuff. I don't think so, you know. And I'm not saying that. I mean, they're erasing history because it doesn't fit into their narrative. You know. Yes. I mean, the slavery thing. They're going on, keep bringing that up. Yes, it was bad. It shouldn't have happened. But at that particular time in the world, there were slaves everywhere. We were one of the
still
first
slaves today.
Yes,
slavery.
And then when everybody jumps back to black people, but black people were the ones selling the black people.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean. I don't know. Like it was bad, but there was all types of slaves. There still
is.
is.
One of the first countries to to do away with it. You know, on a big scale. You know, we were one of the first countries to do away with it. So you know,
not really though. Let's say when you think about the things that happen today in the black market of this country, it still happens. It just openly it was abolished. But unfortunately, that's one of those things like racism or anything else. It's always going to be around.
Yeah, I mean, racism. This country is not as racist as they make it out to be. There is still some racists around. As you said, there's always going to be, but it's not like they portray it to be.
Yeah. And that's what I was relating the slavery thing to. I mean, sweatshops, stuff like that's slavery.
Credit cards, the white picket fence, all slavery. It is. You miss a few payments, your wife leaves you, you lose your house, your car, family don't want to talk to you. You're a leopard. It is ridiculous. It's slavery to the bank.
But when you look at the grand scheme of things, I hate to say it, and I'm trying to think of the comedian who said it. I think it was Louis C.K. It might have been Bill Burr, though. But no, it was Louis C.K. He said, think about it. Everything that was ever great in human civilization throughout history happened because of slavery. And that's a really sad fact, though. Pyramids, because they're built with friggin' slave labor. You know, you can say that, you know, our country's so great. Well, it got that way on the back of slave labor in the beginning. You know, Great Wall of China, slave labor. So many things that we look at today and we're like, that's amazing. Slave labor.
Look, sex, mac and cheese, neither of that came from slavery, man. There's a few things out there slavery's got nothing to do with.
But where I was going with this is to take down the statues, remove everything, because I mean, if you don't teach history, you're going to repeat yourself. You learn from your history. Just because
they want you to keep thinking you got a chance doing the same thing. And don't worry about them messing with the machines or anything. Go down and do your vote. You did your part. Everything will be status quo.
Yeah. Two Gun Kitty says slavery to the establishment. If you work for another, you are a slave. Basically, yeah. Because you're working to somebody else's whim.
It's one of the beauties of self-employment. Especially times like these, with all these crazy laws and everything being put in, mandates, this and that, employers acting like pricks when they don't even legally have to. If you can do your own thing, I highly recommend it.
You're right. Two Gun Kitty says socialism is modern form of slavery. And I'm not arguing with you. And problem is, that's what the people want. They want somebody to take care of them, basically. And if it ever happens, they're going to say, oh my God, what have we done? And it'll be too goddamn late to change it. I won't be around to see it, but that's the way this country is heading unless we can change it. And you got to change it with the kids in school, with education. Yes, we've done some, but every time we've done something bad, we've tried to correct it and become better. As the way I look at it. So yes, that was wrong, but we stopped it and we're trying to do better. Yes, there is racism still around, but it's not as bad as it was. Is it totally 100% gone? No. But it's nowhere near like it was. I mean, I remember as a kid living here in this part of southern Indiana. And, I remember my relatives when my father used to bring us here to visit back in the 60s and stuff. I mean, that and before all the stuff, with the civil rights movement, the N word was flying everywhere around here. I mean, even a black person got killed in a road accident, and they wouldn't even bury him in the cemetery. A farmer let them put a grave in the cornfield next to the cemetery. I mean, that's how bad it was here, and that was back in the 60s. So what was that, 50 years ago? 50, 60 years ago? And it wasn't that, but it's changed from then. I'm not saying that there isn't still some people around here that feel that way, but where there was, say, 10 families that felt that way, there might only be one family like that now. So the country is getting better in that sense. And that's the kind of stuff we need to teach, I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I don't think we need to really teach it so much. We just got to stop beating on it. Everything isn't because you're racist. I mean, there is white assholes and there's black assholes. So just because you have a bad interaction doesn't instantly mean it's racist. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
But, nowadays everything's racist. You know what I mean? Is what it seems. So, vanilla ice cream, racist, brown paper bags, right? Like that's just the stupidest shit I've ever heard, honestly. What I mean? But who gives these people a microphone? I don't understand.
Yeah, and I was I was
there
listening to something the
there's
other day. They're trying to say Black Friday's racist.
yeah, it's craziness. I
You
mean,
know?
there's always going to be some in people. I wouldn't even call it necessarily racism. I'd call it a learned response. Like, seems like everybody forgets about this, but if you meet a little green guy on the playground and you go say hi and he punches you in the face or whatever, you might be a little sketchy about the next little green guy. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean they're all bad, but you might be a little sketchy about that guy. So people's interactions affect how others are going to feel about people or people as a whole, because people say we don't judge this and that. You all know it's bullshit. When you walk down the street and you see somebody, you have a judgment in your mind. Some of you cross the street. It's some of you might be smart to cross the street, but we all have a quick judgment in the mind. We shouldn't base our whole opinion on that, but it's a natural survival skill. It's like breathing. It's like breathing. It's just something you do. So, if everybody in a little town where there's just use color here, where everybody's white and you got a couple of black guys coming in, causing an issue, most people are going to refer to that as, oh, well, that's what they do, I guess, So when the next guy comes in, I get treated like shit because of those assholes. But it's not everybody. So that's and I think in a whole, people know that, but it's the media. It's everybody else.
Yeah.
So
I know.
they
Here's
just
something
keep
that I
blowing
found
it up.
strange. Is there was a guy, and when I was living in Rhode Island, he was a roofer, right? And his people would, how can I put this? His crew were all Mexican, right? And people would badmouth the Mexicans because of the border situation, right? Illegal immigrant, they say, oh, no, they got green cards or nothing. But where I'm going with is they would have a new roof put on a house in a day and a half. They used to work their asses off, but they're lazy, no good for nothings, I don't know if that was the example I'm trying to set is that, a lot of times, we jump to conclusions of something we've seen or heard and don't really look into it properly. I knew some of those Mexican guys that done the roof, and they were pretty good. They were just like me, regular guys, except their heritage or their ethnicity was Mexican, or what do you call them today, Latinos or whatever,
Well, people are blaming and like associating something from a race to an individual. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
that's where the big screw up is. There's good and bad in every group. Police officers, military, different, Asian, Latino, you name it, there's good and bad. So, unfortunately, sometimes people just tend to get the bad experiences, or maybe it's location, geographics, maybe I think body language has a lot to do with encounters, between different cultures, which I don't think most people pick up on. I'm sure some know what I'm speaking of, but there's a lot to this stuff, but it's not all just, I think, like the TV puts it anyway.
Yeah. That's another thing. Like in England, when I was growing up in England, the people, the Pakistanis, the Indians, they would come over as a family. People would get mad because because the whole family would, they would come up with, normally somebody in the community would lend them the money. They would buy a shop, mainly a convenience store, for lack of a better word. Over here, that's what they would. They weren't called convenience stores in England, but basically that's what they were. And the whole family would work in there, from the grandparents right down to the babies, work in that store. Then normally within a year or two, the oldest, sorry, either brother, sister, oldest son, or whatever. Next thing you know, they bought another store, because they earned the money and paid cash for it, and go on and on and on. And then before you know it, they have a whole chain of convenience stores, and people are pissed off that the Indians, or the word they used in England was, they called them packies, right? That was that's the word they used for them in England, and they would get so mad that they're overtaking the country, but they're only doing what you wouldn't do if you got in there and worked your ass off, open this store up from, for 10, 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, you could have what they got, but you weren't willing to work it. Now you're pissed off because somebody else has come in and done it.
Well, and that's the thing. They're willing to work, and two, they're not wasting their money on frivolous shit.
Yeah.
I can state for at least America, it somewhat pisses me off because of how they do it. But I'm not hating on them because of it. But normally there's that tax-free, the exemption for 7 years. So they'll get another family to come over and run that store. And it keeps kind of feeding that way to continue to bring people over as people become legal citizens as well. So basically, they'll be tax-free for 20, 30 years through, family, different individuals. Well, your store next door is getting hammered every damn year. That pisses me off. I mean, it's a loophole. They're smart enough to use it, so you can't really hate them on it, but it's kind of shitty how it works out, my opinion.
Yeah, I understand.
But I give much respect to them as far as employment and work. So I've known people from here to 3.5 hours away. I'll stop in a gas station and see a guy that works here normally because they own them all over the damn place and they just cycle around. So but we could pretty much do the same thing, but honestly, not to the same benefit of tax-free for the whole time. And taxes are a bitch in New York. So, it's a bit, it adds up. What you're paying in taxes can change your bracket of lifestyle easily in New York.
Now, how can I put this without sounding bad? Don't you get a tax break because you're a minority? What they class as a minority? You understand what? I didn't mean that in a bad way, but you understand what I'm trying to say?
I think he just
that's funny.
Well, I guess you don't then, huh?
No.
Because what I'm saying is, with the U.S. government, they always say if you're going to do business with a company, a minority gets first choice of the job.
You're talking about affirmative action.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a tax break. That's just, hey, you're supposed to hire X amount of minorities, stuff like that. And honestly, I hate to, bring up another comedian that I watched, but I think it was Chris Rock. He had a good joke on this. He's like, affirmative action's bullshit. He's like, if the white guy is the better candidate, fucking hire the white guy. He's like, but if the white guy has the same test scores as me, fucking hire me. I was like, all right, that's a good one. I like that. Yeah. And that's really what affirmative action is. If it's going to come down to, hey, these guys are evenly matched, then affirmative action says that they're supposed to hire the minority.
Yeah. And what they're trying to do now with what do they call it? Equity or something like that, is they want to say if you got a score of a 90 and he got a score of a 70, he gets in, but you don't because he's a minority. That is wrong. I'm sorry, that is totally wrong.
I've seen it used where a guy that basically forcibly raped somebody and was out of prison got a job over me with a clean record. So, and to me, it was like a beneath me job, but it was winter and, business slows down. So in the past, I have just hopped in somewhere for employment, something to help get through. But
they might have thought you were overqualified.
Well, maybe, but I don't see that it really matters. I still got to survive. And that's the funny part is I just finished a commercial building siding for the guy's brother. But what I didn't know is they hated each other. So I, threw that name down as a reference. And so maybe that had something to do with it. But in the end, I found out the guy that ended up taking it was one of them guys on the cars that get mail around your house. So I was, a little pissed off about that.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know if what can we do about it? You got to start somewhere. And, I think like yourself there, Rob, where you're homeschooling your kids, you're got them in the right direction. They're not being fed the crap that they're feeding them in public schools. So it's got to start like that. It goes back to education and the kids, what they're learning. I feel otherwise this country's lost if we don't change it. I'm sorry. It might sound doom and gloom, but that's just the way it is. People just want to be pampered. They want the government to do it all for them. Freedom isn't free. There's always risk with living with having freedom. You can't have freedom without risk. It's impossible. And that's what people, and so they want to give up that freedom for security, for the government to take care of us so we don't have to worry about it.
Remember too, going against the flow is work because you're going through the tide. Everybody, your family, people around you, the school, everybody's looking at you like, what am I missing or what's wrong? So, it takes work to be different or to do what's right in your mind. And that also can lead to some isolation, social issues, blah, blah, blah. So a lot of people don't, most people go with the flow, the path of least resistance, especially if they are somewhat doing well now. Why nobody wants to go backwards. That's the problem in some cases. Nobody wants to go backwards, but once in a while, you got to drop down and peg to cover a wider area, and then gain your resources to move back up. But nobody wants to do that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what that saying was. If you're right, what you're doing is right, true, and just, you will prevail eventually. Might take a while, but I think I don't know that if I'm saying it right. I can't remember how the saying goes, but you can have everybody against you, but if you're right, you're gonna prevail.
No guarantee, but at least you die with honor.
Yeah,
but
yeah, exactly.
You can also be, as they say, on the wrong side of things too, in a sense. So I'm sure I screwed that up. So you got to be open-minded and honest with yourself too. I mean, this goes into all types of psyche issues, but as far as if you do have major concerns with your kid's school, if you're nonstop going back and forth complaining about things and things aren't being addressed, you're running out of time. It's just that simple. So it's upon you to make a choice. Compared to a lot of things, it's not that unachievable for you to do something different. That's it. It's cheaper than a boat.
Yeah. So we got to solving the world's problems here, or not the world's, our country's problems. I've even noticed it that just as I said, I find it a shame. Everybody knows. I lived here when I was a kid, on and off, and I left. And I've said this story. I left here in 1972, and my father retired in England because my mother was British, as everybody knows, right? And I didn't step one foot in this country until 1995, right? All that time I spent in England or Germany. Now, a lot of that time I was working for the American government. I mean, I started working on the British economy, but I eventually got a job with the American government. But when I came here in 95, I mean, it took me, oh my God, it must have taken me 15 years to feel that I belonged here. Because I felt this, because this ain't the country I left. You know, when I was back in 1972, it was totally different. It wasn't, I didn't feel I was as free as I used to be. But then again, I was a kid. I wasn't an adult, holding a job and everything else. That could have been a big difference too. But I noticed even when my kids went to school, I noticed that they weren't teaching them what I was taught and stuff like that. And it was just different. It took me a long time to adjust to living here, And even now and then you'll hear me, even when we're having our discussions, I'll go, you guys, because my brain clicks over to me. Because right now I've lived slightly more still overseas than I have here. And I'm 64 now. And I reckon I spent, it's getting close where it's almost 50-50 of how many years I lived in the United States to what I've lived overseas. I'm feeling more American now than I've ever been. That's because I got an AR-15 hanging on the wall, by the way, on an R&M display.
Rick, you said 72 to 95, right?
Yeah.
That's only 23 years. So you've actually been in the U.S. longer at that point.
The what?
You've actually been in the U.S. longer at that point because that was only 23 years overseas.
No. Where I was going, I was adding up all the other times I was there. I was born in England. We lived in Spain. Then we come back here for 2 or 3 years. Then we go back to Europe. I was adding it up that way.
Oh, I got you.
Well, Rick, all you had to do was eat some mac and cheese, man.
Oh, talking about
You're
mac and cheese. Talking about mac and cheese. I can't remember his name, but he's a NFL player for the New England Patriots. And I read it. His headline was, the one thing they should get rid of on the Thanksgiving table is mac and cheese. I said, you're my man.
Son of a bitch should be shot.
Sounds like Tommy.
What is that, National Felons League? Who gives a shit what he says?
Notice that the English guy likes the guy from New England that lives in a commie state. Just saying.
So now, I mean, I'm sorry, you can call me un-American. I ain't eating mac and cheese. Well, I told you this before. If you invited me to your house for a meal and you served me up mac and cheese, I wouldn't chow it down. I would eat it. I would leave some on the plate, but I would eat it to be polite. But I can't. There's actually.
If I express overnight mailed you some of my ladies' world famous mac and cheese, would you eat it live the next day on your show?
Nope.
Son of a bitch.
No, actually, I've even got some instant, or what do you call it, box mac and cheese in the cupboard there. But I won't.
No. That's probably the problem. You got to have some real mac and cheese.
What I'm saying is, I've even got the packet stuff, and I won't eat it. And I just won't eat it. And I'm quite.
No, that's survival food, or
and the only reason, that box mac and cheese is in my cupboard in the kitchen is because it came in one of those boxes that the church gave me that was full of food. You know,
one of these days, Rick's going to start being a prepper, and he's going to get a bunch of MREs, and he's going to get MREs that are just mac and cheese and not even know it until he has to live off of them.
oh, God, I would.
If you gotta go box, at least do the deluxe.
You know, if
Either
I'm
this one or the Velveeta with the cheese packets.
Hey, since I don't like, since I dislike it so much, maybe I should start eating it and I can lose weight.
Perhaps what you need to do is make some homemade mac and cheese.
Nah.
Forget all that
powder. No, I'm sorry. It's just
make a good
about
it's totally different, Rick.
Oh God, no.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Totally different.
All right, so Rick, I'm not going to call you un-American, but I am going to call you British.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with being British.
Red coat.
You know. So.
What's up, Will?
You know, hey, Will Armed, how you doing? Did he run off on us? Or he was going to go get some mac and cheese? Oh, we lost him.
Scared him away.
Yeah.
The chat was just too real.
Sorry, I couldn't unmute.
Oh, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Good.
I got a question for you. Do you homeschool your kids?
No.
Okay. Just curious.
Public schools are pretty good here. Not too woke. I mean, one time from like second grade, my son said he could be a boy or a girl. I'm like, no, you can't. Look at your equipment compared to your twin sister's equipment. You can't change. And so he's dealt with it.
Oh, and that's one of the things that I tell people. And Gunpowder Beauty had made this point on my show on Thursday, which I was like, that's, great. What Kirsten said, we're raising the next generation just as our parents raised us to be the next generation, and so on and so on. And I was like, yeah, we're raising the next generation. So if they turn out to be a bunch of shitcards, it's because we failed. And problem is people, they want to blame things, but at the end of the day, they need to look at themselves.
Yeah, I said that too.
You can blame the schools all you want, and I'm not saying that the school system's perfect, by no means. And I'm sure there's some places where it's just horrendous, and you might need to homeschool your kids or something. Obviously, I don't know the makeup and the policies and everything else of every school across the nation. And so I'm not going to sit there and criticize anybody that is like, oh, the best option is to homeschool my kids. Hey, if that's the case, cool, go for it. But unfortunately, I do feel that most people, instead of being responsible and taking responsibility for the things that they're doing with their children and how they're raising them and whatnot, they just want to point fingers and go, oh, well, it was the school system, or oh, it was society, or oh, it was what they watched on TV. Well, no, you need to take a vested interest in your child's life and be involved and instill the values that you want to instill in them.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, you do have to listen to what your kids are saying and what they are learning from school, because there's some crap out there. But this school that my kids are in is a 98 out of 100, so it's one of the better schools in the state. So a lot of people pay a lot of money to live in this subdivision, this part of Atlanta, for the school districts, right? So
I'd argue with you guys a little bit, but
not
in a bad way. But some schools are better than others. I'll definitely state that aren't as bad. In those places, I might have left my kids in school too. So, but what I will argue is statistically, according to the numbers, your kid does stand a better chance going through private or homeschool. So,
Oh yeah, but that's
the facts are out there. So knowing that, why wouldn't you want your kid to have a better chance?
But so why do kids excel more if they're homeschooled or
Oh,
school, and
I,
that's because smaller class sizes. You're choosing exactly the curriculum. If you want your kid to go to Catholic school and learn, you don't want them to learn about evolution or anything like that, and which actually I think they would teach that in Catholic school now. But anyways, if you want that kind of teaching, then boom, you can harness it. And at that point, if you're paying $40,000-$50,000 a year for private school, well, it darn well better be better than the friggin' free school that you could get. I mean, obviously not free; you got to pay taxes, crap like that. But nonetheless, it better be better than what you're getting through public school. And likewise, if you're taking the time to homeschool your children, then again, smaller class sizes, you're able to harness in on exactly what their weak spots are. You're able to spend more time uh, going and saying, okay, you're having this problem. We can take an extra day or something on it. When you got a classroom full of 30 people, hey, you better sink or swim there, kid, because tomorrow we're moving on to this. You can come in after class or something, but we've got to move on. If you need help, then we'll have to figure something out. But at homeschool, it's okay.
you're making my case for me in a sense. So, and then I'm just add another note so it doesn't turn out to be a huge long thing. If your kid hangs out at a school with a bunch of hood rats, how do you think your kid's going to talk? How do you think they're going to react in their free time? Even though your household isn't that way, what social experience are they going to have? There's no way they're going to survive without learning it, without being a part of it. And then, therefore, their resources, their friends, the people they could reach out to, what level are those people at? So, I mean, it's like they say, if there's no way of playing in the toilet bowl without getting dirty, it doesn't happen.
I don't
So,
know.
how much of that is an effect? There is exceptions to every rule, but on average, you could probably do better. I mean, you said it yourself. Well, at least you'll agree that the numbers state you're better off in private or homeschool. So, let alone, despite everything else, the only reason not to is because it's easier, or I don't know, whatever you're coming up with.
Trust me, if I could afford to private school my kids, I'd do it. That'd be freaking great. But affordability is not. It's just not feasible. As far as homeschooling goes, I'm home all the time now, so I could easily homeschool my children. However, I'm going to take this into firearms training realm, and with all the ladies that I've been talking to, they'll talk about, oh yeah, my boyfriend was trying to train me or something, and it just didn't work, and and they'll talk about how their guy has to swallow his pride, take that step back, go, okay, I'm not the man for this job. Somebody else is going to have to come in and teach it. I'm not the person to teach my kids, math and stuff like that, because I'm like, how the frick don't you know this? This is ridiculous. So in that situation, going with homeschool would not be a better option for my kids. Likewise, their mother cannot afford to not work, so she's not going to be able to homeschool them. So public school is really the only option for them at that point.
There you go.
I keep arguing, because well, I'm just stating you can have a job and still homeschool. We did it for years, and not a 9 to 5 either. That's one of the beauties, is it takes half as long to cover the same material, and you do have guidelines depending which path you take, and resources. You can homeschool, and it's almost just like being in private school these days. So especially with the technology and things like that. So I don't know. It's different for everybody, but I think on average, people could do more, but they don't. So, and I'm not pointing that at you or anybody, in particular. I'm just stating as a whole, you're right. Society it is us as a whole. It isn't me. I did my damnedest, so I can die with a free conscience.
And I've said that before. It's
other
society
people
as a whole.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to, shame anybody like you're stating or something. In some cases it may not be possible. Like, you damn sure don't want me covering how to spell, because that'd be horrible. So, let me tell you. So yeah, we all have our limitations, but I will add, the lady, she almost went back to school to teach the kids certain things because things have changed in a time period. So it's work, and you got to know, sometimes you got to learn it before you can teach somebody else. So it's not necessarily easy, but that's a hardship she thought was worth the trade-off.
So I want to go back on the hood rat thing that you mentioned real quick too, because I hung out with rainbow of people, I guess you could say. And then when I started working corrections, when I went in for my interview, they said, "Do you know anybody here?" I was like, "Possibly. Do you have this person still locked up here?" And there's like, "Oh, that's that guy in that murder case." So like, how do you know him? I was like, him and my brother were co-defendants on another case, and they said, will that affect your judgment or ability to perform the job? I was like, nope. I was like, I have no ties to the guy. It's just my brother and him were co-defendants. And so cool. So I ended up getting the job, and then for orientation, one of the things they do is walk you through the whole jail. And really, what this allows is for the inmates to see the new class of officers coming in and trying to intimidate you, all that fun jazz. And they're like, you're probably going to see some people that don't worry about it, blah blah blah. I did a head count on everybody that I knew, and there 37 people were locked up. That was honestly about probably 1/7 of the population of the jail in my county I knew. Now, obviously, I'm just one example, but I know a lot of other people that ran around with those same people, and they're good, productive members of society. So
yeah, there's always exceptions to the rule. I don't want to harp on anything, or get too far in, but as far as success and things like that, I mean, if maybe things were different, maybe you could afford a private school for your kids, if you had different resources or whatever. So, and I'm not trying to put you down in particular, but I'm just saying, that it's hard to say what could have been.
oh yeah,
Most of the people I've grown up with are in jail, dead, but yet I'm like the oddball, the outcast that's, illegal to the point where I can carry a gun, and I've worked for the government, the military and whatnot. So it can happen. But I will state I'm not an angel either. So, but granted, there's exceptions to every rule, but on average, you're more likely to fall down the same path as everybody else. It's just like the general stuff with kids. Everybody knows better. They're going to be the special one. Everything's going to work out great for them until it doesn't. And as a parent, even telling them this, they just don't listen to you. It's the same type of thing. I don't know. I'm getting out there.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, G23 said it's easier to blame others than look inside yourself and realize how much you failed. As a society, we failed. The kids the kids that we see today, or they're not kids. The people who are coming up, the people in their 30s, 40s, like you guys, we failed. We failed society. Otherwise, because 90%, or I wouldn't say 90%, over half of the nation wants socialism. They want to be taken care of. We failed somewhere along the line. I don't know how, but we did.
Parents are too soft.
Well,
they gotta have a phone. They gotta have a new car to get to college.
Well,
they got it. Nope. So why don't they have a job? Why aren't they working?
I mean, exactly. That's where I was going. That's what I was saying.
They're just way too soft. They want to do better than what they had. And it's gotten to the point now where everybody's a goddamn princess or little prince, and they can't change a tire or do anything for themselves.
That's what I'm saying. Like my story where I wanted the purple bike and stuff. Right? I didn't get it growing up But for example, I done everything in my power to make sure my son had that bike. Whatever bike it was at the time, that was the end thing. So I mean, I'm to blame to a certain degree. Because I wanted to make my kids' life easier than I thought mine was. My life, but my life wasn't bad. But I wanted to make their life easier. Luckily, my kids have turned out, in spite of myself, my kids have turned out pretty damn good. They're not libtards. But I'm a bit worried about my youngest being a doctor. Going to med school. That worries me. But he did ask me about guns last month. He wanted to know what that gun was of mine that he shot when I was down in Florida a few years ago. So I told him it was my M&P 45 ACP.
M&Ps are hard not to like.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Unless you're one of them Glock snobs.
So, and then the Midnight Range said for you guys to give it up. He's a lost cause. Dude's got red coat blood in him. He's I guess he's talking about me. He goes,
macaroni cheese hating, American flag hating.
He goes, my kids like mac and cheese. That's all that matters. Hashtag screw you, red coat.
Yeah. Well, we're halfway, Midnight. I mean, he is displaying an AR back there and looking forward to going to shoot it. So we're halfway. If we can get some mac and cheese in
Tuesday, because I'll see my friend Monday down the diner, and I'll let him know that I'm coming over Tuesday, and we'll shoot it. I'm looking at Tuesday to go do it. It'll be either Tuesday or Thursday, but I'm leaning towards Tuesday.
Yeah. Looks like Wild was showing off a pew pew a minute or two ago.
Who was?
He's got another new one probably. I don't know. Dang guy.
Yep, that's a new Bull Armory SAS2 government 9mm.
I was about to say, you son of a bitch. Then you said 9mm. Never mind.
I also, at the same time, I got the Commander 45.
You son of a bitch.
I tell you.
I'll second that.
Yeah. I tell you, I got to shoot this one too. I haven't shot this one in a while. Is this going to get me kicked off of YouTube? Holding this in my hand?
They could.
Probably. Yeah. We'll find out.
The old single action.
I love that. I don't know if they'll mistake a pellet gun for a real gun, but you never know.
Yeah.
I think as long as you don't hold it, you're okay on live stream.
Okay. Well, I put
it a display for that thing.
Look, I even keep it in the box it came in. And unfortunately, I mean, I am so bad. I mean, I know I don't have a gun safe. I just got a gun cabinet right here. I don't even keep it in there. I just keep it on the shelf in front of it. I've got a gun on the table in the living room there that I have next to me. I got my other gun in the bedroom. Then I said I got that one hanging on the wall. And my two lax.
Don't give the ATF too much information. Jeez.
I really do like those Bull Armories. They are freaking amazing.
I want as much as I despise what Springfield Armory did. I want that Ronin so bad. Is it Ronin? Is that how you pronounce it?
You want it because it's two-tone, right?
Yeah. I just like the look of it.
Look at the Kimber Custom 2. I just picked one up.
I don't know, Will. Both those guns could be better. I think they'd look better if they were at my house.
Yeah.
You know what, Wield? He drives a hard bargain. You can keep the 9mm. I'll take the 45.
All right.
At least I'll leave you one.
Yeah, you can keep the 9mm.
Actually, ironically, I was going to pick up a Bull Armory 1911 at my LGS last month when I got the Kimber. And the only reason I didn't get the Bull Armory because he didn't have it in stock. I was like, crap, because I've been eyeballing it for months. Because, man, it is amazing. But he didn't have that. So I was like, well, what else do you have that I haven't seen? And he's like, well, we got this Kimber. And I was like, oh. So, story on that. He said guy had to be mid-70s at least. He was like 75, he said. Brought in the Kimber. His eye was all messed up, and there was some blood on the gun. Guy fired one shot through it, and I don't know if it flipped up and busted him in the eye or if he was holding it real close so he could, maybe see the sights or something. And the slide cycled and busted him in the eye. Either way, the guy fired one shot through it, and it night striked him, and he took it in and sold it.
Oh man,
I like that. Yeah, that's what we need
That's
to start
funny.
doing that now. Anybody get up with a gun, night strike them. Yeah.
my uncle did that. Or they, I think an M9 when he joined the service years ago. He busted his nose though. I don't know how trying to be all close and aiming up front, but yeah, that's kind of dumb. It's a shame somebody didn't explain that.
Yeah, let's say. But so I got what is essentially a brand new Kimber at used price. That's like, and I've never wanted a Kimber. I always thought they're overrated. And overall, for the hype that they get, I think they're a little overhyped. It's a nice 1911. I'll give them that, but I think it's a little overhyped. But man, it is purty.
Yeah.
Aren't they like the Buick of firearms?
Yeah, a lot of firearms I buy them because I like the looks of them more than what I've read about them or anything. Is that wrong?
Yeah, unless you got expendable money.
No, I don't.
Now,
I mean,
depends why you buy them. Defensive purposes, yeah, that's wrong. But yeah, if you're just collecting, then no, there's nothing wrong with that.
I bought the AR-15 at. I don't think they look that great. I mean, that mine looks good hanging on the wall there in that R&L wall display, But I shot my friends and I realized what I've been missing. So that's why I bought one. And everybody needs a rifle, at least one.
I feel the same way about homemade mac and cheese.
Oh, God. Talking about food. I got to feed my cat soon and feed myself too. And I'm not having mac and cheese. But I am thinking about having a grilled cheese sandwich. But I ain't having mac and cheese. Oh, just the thought of it makes me shiver. Oh, sends the thing down my spine. Oh,
Just the thought of you shivering, making you shiver, makes me shiver because you're shivering about shivering for mac and cheese. That's ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. You should be willing to just swim through that open mouth.
Oh, God.
Cool a little bit.
To me, as I said, I'd eat it. I mean, I'm trying to. It's not as bad because I said if you serve mac and cheese up to me, I would attempt to eat it, be polite. But it's almost like eating. It's like eating liver. The more you chew, the bigger it gets in your mouth, and you just
no.
Oh God.
Oh, you're crazy. You'll eat spotted dick, like the crumpet biscuits, all this other weird shit. Macaroni noodles, cheese, milk. I mean, what's the problem? What's the problem?
Actually, I had fish and chips down the diner yesterday, And they even bought Deb even gave me my own bottle of malt vinegar. And I'm sitting there, because most Americans use tartar sauce when they eat fish. I put my malt vinegar on there, and that's the only time I use salt. Now, I don't use salt for anything else but fish and chips. Because normally I just leave whatever the item has in it is the way I eat it. I don't put salt on anything anymore except for fish and chips. I put my vinegar on. You put your vinegar on first, because if you put your salt and pepper on first and then you put your vinegar, all you're doing is washing it away. So I had my fish and chips and my malt vinegar yesterday. Still not the same as English fish and chips, but it's good enough. So anyway, we haven't talked about the quiz. That's next Saturday. And we've got Will and Well Armed patches that I'm giving away. These are the original ones, not the new ones that he has coming. These are the original. So once they're gone, they're gone. They're collector's items. And there's that and some stickers. There's also, if we get 15 entries, there's a gun cleaning kit. If we get 20 entries, not only will you have the stickers, patches, the gun cleaning kit, there'll be a 6-inch steel target. But we got to get 20 entries. And there was something else that was given away, and I can't remember what in the hell it was. But that's a prize right there just on its own. And the question, what I wanted to know was, I wanted to know Louis L'Amour. I wanted to know basically the title of his first short story he ever had published, and the name of the book and when, mainly the name of the book that he had published. The name of the first book he ever had published. And I want to know the name of the first short story he ever published. If you want to throw in the years, you can show that you actually researched it. Would be nice, but it's not part. Knowing the years is not part. Doesn't get you disqualified if you don't put the years in the answer. So email me at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. And get them into me by noon next Saturday. That's noon Eastern time, the only time zone that matters, no matter what Travis P11 says. That Central Time's the only one. He's wrong. How many entries do I have? Nowhere near 15. Nowhere near. I think maybe I have, right now, I think I'm back to my usual, about 4 or 5, right now. So, last week, I got the 15 dead on before we could do the two still target thing. But I'm nowhere near that the total 15. I know we're not going to hit the 20.
So just to clarify, it's the first short story he published in his first book. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. But I said if I don't get the 15, you still get the patches and the stickers. So. Oh, not only the patches and the stickers. I forgot. That's because Patriot in the Dark won these last one, and he told me to keep them and donate them to this week's prize. Because this week's prize, I forgot. I know what the other thing was now. Besides the stickers and patches, was this, what does it say? Hope Jager hat. I got this from last year. I got this from Clover Tech, brand new. Still got the cardboard in it and everything. It's the baseball cap. That was what the other item was. So there we go. And you get the cap, the stickers, and the patches, no matter how many entries I get. But to get the cleaning kit, I gotta have 15 entries. So there we go. All right, I'm gonna wind this up because it's almost quarter to 5. My cats are sitting here. One of them's already. He didn't. I'm not bleeding, but he got me with his nail. He ran it across my bare leg down here. So I'm wearing shorts. And he ran his nail. He didn't stick him in. He just ran him against my leg just to let me know he's there and it's dinner time. Yeah. So, New York Outcast, you got any plugs or shout outs?
Got a sale going at R&L Displays if anybody's interested. Other than that, check out everybody on the panel here and amongst the chat, and have a great evening.
Okay, then so that checkout at R&L Displays, you got a sale going on. Does the discount code still work as well?
Not with the sales, unfortunately.
Okay.
So.
All right, no problem. But if you missed the sale, use the discount codes, and you get 15% off after the sale's finished. You can buy something else. So when does the sale end? Monday or something, Monday's Cyber Monday,
believe
right? So
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Yeah, it'll probably Tuesday. Yeah.
Yes. So the discount codes will start working again on Tuesday. He's already got a sale going on, a good discount going on this weekend. So, all right, Guns and Barbecue. You got anything?
Barbecue chat tonight at 9:30 Eastern. Tuesday and Thursday show like normal. And if everything goes right, I should be recording a 2A Women Wednesday this Tuesday to premiere on Wednesday. One of my previous guests that was supposed to premiere this Wednesday had some issues with her schedule or we couldn't record. So fingers crossed we can get one recorded before this Wednesday. So that's about it. Thanks for having me, Rick.
No problem. All right. Will and Well Arms, you got anything?
No, nothing. Just trying to get moved. Doing steel construction. So tomorrow I got a guy coming in and pouring my bathroom and floor, and so the tilers can put in their sandy subfloor, whatever that's called, and then tile that with the slope and the drains and everything for the wheelchair accessible bathroom. So it's a big remodel job for a 1975 house.
Yeah. Oh, good luck.
Yep.
Yeah.
So once I get moved in, probably December or January, I'll start doing video again.
All right. That works. Okay. All right. I want to say thank you to everybody in the chat for stopping by and spending your Thanksgiving weekend with me. I really do appreciate it. I don't know if you got anything out of it except that I dislike mac and cheese. And anyway, so I personally thought it was a good discussion. It went by fast. Rob got a bit deep there towards the end, but it was a good conversation.
What his wife says.
What was that?
So that's what she says.
Yeah. All right. I want to say thank you all for being here. I really do appreciate it. I'll be back on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, the only time zone that matters. So until then, I will say good evening or good afternoon to everybody. See you later. Bye. Bye, Sabrina.
Eat a salad.
Adios, Palacio. That's Felicia.